Reid explained that humans are a form of animal.
Yes.
As human animals, we differ from beasts in a number of ways, one of which is that we attempt to pair up for life, which is complicated by the fact that we have the capacity for spoken language. Stay tuned as Reid explores advice on partnering in his speech titled Sentence of Life.
You've probably heard that there are only two things that you can be guaranteed of in life. What are they?
Death and taxes.
Death and taxes. I would submit to you there are a number of other things that you can pretty much be guaranteed of. Assuming that you avoid the death part, you're probably going to grow up at some point. You may grow up quickly. In the case of Annette, who by some freak of mathematics has great-great-great-grandchildren. We can't figure that one out. Or you might grow up a little bit slower, perhaps, a little bit like me. And if you're kind of late, you could be qualified to have something called Peter Pan syndrome, which I looked up in the dictionary, and it really wasn't a description that was very flattering. So I looked around online to see what other kinds of syndromes I could trade it for. Restless leg syndrome, perhaps, but I thought I'd rather not have that. Chinese restaurant syndrome. I couldn't believe that actually existed. You get a burning sensation over various parts of your body. I think I'll stick with Peter Pan syndrome. But I turned 40 in January. I know it's hard to believe. And I'm starting to feel the pressure to grow up, to partner up. And I thought this would be a good opportunity to do some research and find out what do I need to know looking forward? What kinds of skills do I need to make a partnership last? And I thought, where can I get that kind of information? The Learning Annex? Learning Annex, you pretty much get what you pay for. $20 a lesson. Who are you getting it from? The library. You can get books at the library. Another option is to examine learning opportunities with your peers. Start polling people. This is the way information has been transmitted for thousands of years. I was at lunch yesterday with my coworkers, and I decided to poll them and ask them for their marital advice. What's the secret to a long life together? This is Kelly. Kelly says, don't do it. It's just a lot easier if you don't get married and stay together. I was afraid that if I followed Kelly's advice, I'd wind up like this guy. I really don't fancy that idea. Eric says the key is to have at least 2 partners in life. Well, why stop at 2? You could be a Mormon. You could trade up. You could have 5, 6. Maybe that's the key to success. This is my boss, Bill, and he had some really wise words. He said, the golden rule, think before you react. It's really key when your partner upsets you that you take a moment to figure out how am I going to respond to that. And acknowledge your partner. Active listening. Oh, I understand what you're saying, honey. Oh, I'm sorry that things aren't going well for you in that area. And then his last point was hug and roll, if you remember that from Friends episode.
Yes.
Yes? It's crucial. Lying in bed, you want a little space, give her a hug, roll away. And Colin said, be flexible, which I interpreted as to mean do what she says. Yep. Another coworker of mine years ago said that all women are the same. The ubiquity of women means just pick one. Doesn't matter which one. Most of the women that heard that were quite offended. Didn't have a lot of female friends. I decided at that point it was time to go online and do a little more research and find out what real experts could pass on in the way of knowledge. And I read an article about a couple who've been married 86 years. The world's longest marriage. And a couple of key points I pulled out of the article you might find interesting. The question was, how do you both manage to grow as individuals, yet not grow apart as a couple? And they quoted the Bible and said, everyone who plants a seed and harvests the crop celebrates together. We are individuals, but accomplish more together. What's the one thing that you have in common that transcends everything else? We're both Christians and believe in God. Marriage is a commitment to the Lord. We pray with and for each other each day. I might submit that each one is praying for the other to die so they can get 5 minutes alone before death. Articles on Dr. Phil talk also about the golden rule, so that lends credence to my coworker's argument. Another article said, make alone time a priority. As a man being single 4 years, I can assure you I need a great deal of cave time. Unlike Thomas, who probably prefers hugs all day long. I know, I can tell just looking at you, Thomas. More advice, show some affection. Now, as a Canadian, it's a little tougher for us. We like our personal space. This is your personal space. This is my personal space. You know, we don't need a lot of touching. This arm-length distance is fine for me. But living here in the U.S. for 12 years, I've come to enjoy tactile friendships. But the greatest advice I ever received was at the Scottish Highland Games some years ago by a woman, a senior citizen, who said, partnership is a competition to see who can love one another more. And I'll never forget that. I hope this has been helpful. Thank you so much. Have a great week.